All right. What is up, tycoons? What's up, traders? Super excited for today's video. Going to give you an update on the outlook for Mana. All right. This is ticker symbol MANA. This is Decentraland's token. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to compare this current chart right here, which looks very, very tough. Okay. Very, very brutal to look at. If you take a look from the highs to the lows, this thing is down about 95%. All right, from the highs to the lows, 95%, guys. Absolutely stunning, and really, really tough for a lot of investors. So you really need to have some good expectations heading into 2023. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Wall Street cheat sheet psychology of a market cycle. And what this is this is going to explain market cycles for you. And it's very good. It's very worth, looking at this chart frequently to remind yourself of the phases that we're in. And if you take a look, the phase in the rally up to euphoria is one of the quickest, as well as the panic capitulation down to anger is also one of the quickest. The longest and largest phase of the cycle is this phase right here in between panic, capitulation, anger, and depression. This is the longest lasting part. And there's a very, very strong likelihood that we are in this section right now. And we could just be in the very beginning phases, right? We'll really break down what all of these, different stages in the cycles are. But we'll go ahead and take a look back at the chart real quick so that we can see, we had our euphoria highs, we've come down and we've crashed, and there's a high likelihood we're going to be consolidating and moving sideways, even potentially making new lows throughout 2023 before we eventually hit a bottom. So there is a potential we could hit a bottom in 2023. But just because we hit a bottom doesn't mean that we have to get a massive rally and you start to see things go up 500%, 1000% again, like they did in the past here recently. All right. So remember, none of this is financial advice. This is really just my opinion and on what to expect in 2023, and that, it could be another bumpy ride to really get ready for that. So over here, we can see, these are the beginning phases, right? So the cycle starts and ends with a disbelief rally, and that's right around in through here. We start to get a disbelief rally pullback, and then we get that hope, that optimism, that thrill, okay, and then that euphoria. These are our euphoria highs, and we start the cycle back down. And we go down, and you see how quick we go up and how quick we go down. And the longest phases are these consolidation phases. So let's go ahead and take a look back at the chart. Remember what I said, it ends and it starts with disbelief. So eventually you're going to hit depression. My retirement money is lost. How can we pay for all this new stuff? I'm an idiot. People are just going to be completely fed up with the markets. Okay. And that's your depression phase that you hit down here. And it ends up leading into a disbelief phase. Now, that's where people say, hey, this is a sucker's rally. And the reason they do so is because they're literally scarred. They're scarred so much by the pain that they had holding through these phases, or trying to buy the dip here, buy the dip here, buy the dip here, and buy the dip at each one of these lows and never really see a strong recovery. But disbelief, okay, is also the very beginning of the cycle that leads you back to your euphoria highs. After you get disbelief, you get hope, right? And people are like, hey, you know what? Maybe a recovery is possible. And then there's optimism entering the market. And that's where people go, hey, this rally is real right now. This is really a rally, right? And then you get belief. This is where you say, hey, it's time to get fully invested. Maybe in disbelief, right? You're not even invested. In hope, you're saying, hey, let me go ahead and put 20% of my portfolio, 30% of my portfolio. Optimism, you're putting more in. You're going 30, 40, 50% now, right? Belief hits and you're saying, hey, I'm fully invested. I got 100% of my capital in the market, 100% of my portfolio is fully invested, no cash on the sidelines. That leads into thrill, right? And this is where people are buying more on margin. They got to tell everyone to buy. Now, Michael Saylor is famous for buying at these phases right here of thrill and euphoria, and going out and telling people, hey, the best thing you can do right now is go to your grandma, go to your grandpa, go to your neighbor, go to the people at the supermarket and tell them to buy Bitcoin, right? And he's buying Bitcoin like crazy. He's buying it on leverage. He's even using his company's money, MicroStrategy, to use and buy more Bitcoin, right? That leads into euphoria, okay, where I'm a genius. Michael Saylor's a genius. He's the smartest man alive. He's buying so much on leverage. He's using his company's funds, and look how well it's performing. Look how well it's doing for his company. It's working out great. And it's not just him, okay? And I'm not really picking on him, but he's a really great example of, someone kind of known and famous kind of doing these things. Then after this, after you hit those euphoria highs, we get a sharp pullback, right? And then it really consolidates. It tries to recover, but it doesn't really recover. It just consolidates and chops up. This is our complacency phase. This is where people are saying we just need to cool off for the next rally. And what happened with companies like Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, Voyager Digital, and let's just focus on Three Arrows Capital. What they're doing in this complacency phase is they made so much money on the way up that they're going back in and putting more leverage in this phase, right? And that's how they go bankrupt. They're going extra heavy on leverage, buying the dip with more leverage using extreme risk and no risk management, and then they get liquidated, right? And that causes anxiety. This says, why am I getting margin calls? This dip is taking longer than expected. And it's not just companies like Three Arrows Capital that are going bankrupt. It's your average retail trader. It's even bigger companies. It's even bigger institutions. It's whales and stuff. And they're just wondering, like, what's going on? I'm really starting to get a lot of anxiety right now because I'm getting margin called. I'm losing a lot of money. Then you have denial, right? And denial comes after anxiety. This is where, a lot of retailers and a lot of companies, they're saying, hey, my investments are with great companies. They will come back. And they're expecting things to sharply come back. But what happens is it actually ends up just leading into more panic. Everyone's selling. I need to get out. I need to get out. And that's panic selling, right? What does panic selling do? That leads to capitulation. I'm getting 100% out of the markets. I can't afford to lose more, which ultimately leads into anger and then depression. And that ends up leading into your disbelief. All right. Your disbelief rally that starts the cycle all back over. And eventually it heads back into hope. So remember when I said, these phases are the quickest, the phase up to euphoria, the phase down to capitulation, panic, anger. Those are the quick phases. The long phase is right in between here, between anger and depression. Through whether it's the Three Arrows Capital, whether it's BlockFi, whether it's Voyager, whether it's Genesis, whether it's FTX and scam, brokeman, fraud, stealing a lot of people's money. There's been multiple capitulations in the market this year. It's no secret. But what you have to keep in mind is that the longest phase, again, is going to be this phase here. So there's a high potential we could end up making new lows. Now, in those new lows, there's a possibility we could bottom, okay? That we could bottom in 2023. It may take until 2024, but just because we bottom doesn't mean it's going to go straight back up. So be prepared in 2023 for a lot of sideways movement, a lot more pain. It's going to take a lot more patience, okay, guys, for us to reach, the next cycle, the next bullish cycle. It's been a very brutal crypto winter, crypto, bear market. All right. And we're going to go back to the chart here after analyzing a lot of time on here. And we can see how quickly it ran up, how quickly it came down, and we haven't even started trading sideways yet, guys. We have complacency right here, then we have anxiety, then we have, a lot of the other phases, like this is denial right here. We're seeing panic. We're seeing, capitulation probably here soon. And this thing is just going down and losing lots and lots of value. But 2023 is most likely going to look like this. I mean, it may be exaggerated. It may go like this, and you may see, big moves to the upside, big moves to the downside in swings. But relative to the overall price, it's going to be really tough to say when the bottom is going to be and when we're actually going to break out of our sideways channel. Remember, look how quick it was coming up. Look how quick it was coming down. We got to spend a lot of time going sideways, potentially even making new lows before bottoming and restarting the cycle with a disbelief rally right over here. And then you start to get hope, and then you start to get optimism, belief, and thrill and everything like that. So eventually, these market cycles will repeat. You just have to be patient and really try to understand where you possibly are in the current market cycle and if it's a really good time to be investing based on your own personal situation, right? If you're looking to get rich quick, this is not the time to do it. Gone are the days of tokens going up 500, 1,000%. That's not going to happen anytime soon, even if that does end up happening again. It won't be anytime soon. So just mentally be prepared for that as you go into 2023 and really try to do some research on some of your favorite projects and investments that you think have really good long-term potential. And now if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping content like this, putting out anywhere from 5 to 15 videos a week. So if you enjoy this type of videos, you can go ahead and look forward to that. All right. Appreciate you watching, and if you made it this far, I think you will enjoy one of these next two videos as well, so make sure to click on one of those.